Hello friends and welcome to my channel. My name is EJ Marino and we have a new video today. I'm going to be doing a deep dive into Scream. I have been a big fan of this franchise since I was a kid. I mean, this was one of the first movies my mom took me to see in the theaters. Thank you, Mom. You set me up very well here. So, for this video, I wanted to break down a few of my reasons on why I think Scream has a lasting legacy. Not just that first film, but the franchise as a whole. I honestly, I'm gonna be frank with y'all, I think this is the greatest horror franchise ever. I know I have a shrine to Jason Voorhees back here, but I like those movies. I love the Scream movies. There's a few reasons why, so in this video, let's figure out why I think it is the greatest horror franchise ever. Scream. First and foremost, we would not be here discussing Scream if it wasn't for Wes Craven and Kevin Williamson. Those two crafted some amazing films in the 90s. I mean, I love what Kevin Williamson did with Dawson's Creek, and I Know What You Did Last Summer, and Wes Craven, I mean, everything from, like, A New Nightmare, Nightmare on Elm Street, going back down to, like, The Last House on the Left. Hell, some of his more 2000s films, like Cursed, I like those as well. So yeah, these are powerful filmmakers who came together to make a very self-aware, a very meta horror film in the mid-90s. 1996, Scream came out and it really changed the game. Wes Craven knew exactly what he was doing. He had been in the genre for long enough. He was already self-aware with A New Nightmare. He was starting to dissect the horror genre. Well, Scream wasn't a dissection. It was a full, like, embalming. We figured out everything about horror. We learned the rules. We learned the tropes. We made fun of it to the point where I never understood why we did the scary movies. I do like them, but I was just like, yo, Scream did everything y'all are doing better, and I like those movies again, but I do think Scream just really set up so much. It added a lot of, like, lexicon to our stuff. We really started using the final girl. We really started using the, well, we can't say I'll be right back, and that's all because of this film. I really do, I credit Wes Craven for so much, but Kevin Williamson has been the unsung hero of this whole franchise. He has only written, he only did not write one of them, which was Scream 3. There was another writer on there, and you can tell that's a bit more of a comedy. I do like Scream 3. I go in and out of that one. We'll talk about all of them as a whole. But yeah, I think Kevin was really a big part of this. I will not take anything away from Wes because he was the captain of this ship. He knew exactly the tone, the style, and what he wanted to do. And that's hard to find. I see so many other franchises that have had filmmakers come in and out. I mean, I like Friday the 13th, but those two people have been fighting over the rights for it for way too long. So yeah, with Scream, I think there's just something easy with the filmmakers, and it just made it so easy to watch. It's guys coming in, and you know what Wes Craven's going to offer, you know what Kevin was going to write up, all the way up until Scream 4. I felt that was such a good, like, continuation of what their work was. They started so much in 96, so by the time they got to, like, the 2010s, they're like, we have a lot to discuss in this genre, and that's really awesome. Now we have new filmmakers taking over, named Radio Silence. There's a couple directors. It's like a whole troupe of them. Yeah, I trust in their work. It's hard for me, though. I was really nervous going into this upcoming Scream 5, just called Scream, because there was no Wes Craven. Though there was that interesting note that Neve Campbell took forever to sign on to the latest Scream film because she wanted to make sure they were honoring Wes's legacy, and I think that is so important, and it's kind of what put me back on board with it. To be honest, I wasn't a big fan of Radio Silence's first big film, Ready or Not. Just personally not my cup of tea. I thought it was too funny. I was expecting more of a straight-up horror film, so when they got Scream, I was just like, oh, okay, this might be a better fit for you. So I really think the filmmakers are a big part of this. I think it takes passion and love for the genre. It takes nowadays passion and love for what Wes Craven had to offer. That's all we wanted. We want to honor what Kevin and Wes created back in the day, and it's so easy. Now we talked about the filmmaker legacy. Let's get over to more reasons why I think this is such a good franchise. Next up, we have quality over quantity. There is a big thing in horror franchises where there is way too many of them, from Friday the 13th to Insidious to the Saw movies to Halloween, all of them, way too many movies. Scream now only has 5 films. 5 films since '96, that is a good track record. I mean, they were pumping out Friday the 13th movies once a year in the '80s, so I'm really happy to see that this franchise has taken its time. It kind of, what I love about Scream and why I think it's so limited is they usually make a movie, see how the culture of horror changes, and then goes to adapt from there. They start kind of throwing stuff into the horror world and going, damn, we have to deal with that by 3, and then by 4, what did we start up with our legacy because of 1? That's what's really interesting, is the small number of these films make each one of them important. I think that is one of the biggest things. I love some of the Halloween movies, but you don't need to see Halloween 5 and 6 and 7 and 8. They really don't add much to the overall legacy, and then they're just going to reboot it with a different timeline. Jamie Lee Curtis is coming back, and then now she's not back. It's one of those things. Scream does not have that issue. I was a little worried with this one that, you know, the main actors weren't going to come back and what would he have done. But yeah, I like that this is just a family coming together, and it's just those small number of films just really make it easy. With 5 films, I have not seen the 5th one yet. I see it today. Very excited for that. But with 5 films, it's just so easy to watch these movies and realize that these are 5 great films. Where other horror franchises, like, I like the Saw movies, there's maybe about 3 great ones. The rest are maybe not all that word. So yeah, even me, I went back and forth with Scream 3. Sometimes I found it too funny. Sometimes I realized Parker Posey saves that whole movie. The Carrie Fisher cameo. There's a lot in that movie that I do enjoy. So even that one that I do think is a massive change from the other ones still has an important legacy. That's what's just so interesting. It's that quality. It's that making good films each time. They're not trying to pump one out every year. They're trying to take their time, make it work, and I think that is so helpful. It just really makes it so much easier. Again, I love the Friday the 13th movies, but if I'm going to weigh them out on an average, the average for Scream is way higher because there's fewer. Is that fair? No, but also that's just the beauty of this production company with this filmmaker of not overdoing it, not overstaying their welcome. They come in, make a Scream movie, leave for a couple years, come in, make a Scream movie. I like that. And if Radio Silence can do that again with Scream 5, I think we would be doing a whole nother legacy, and I am really excited for that. I do think this is a franchise I would love to see go on forever, but I love the pacing that we've done. Do you guys agree with me? Do you think the smaller number of Scream films help them stand out as a stronger franchise? There's more reasons, but I definitely think that helps. Now, there is another reason why I think the Scream movies do work so well, and it's that murder mystery concept. It's very refreshing in this genre. Slasher films, you know who the killer is. I know who Jason is. I know who Michael is. I know Ghostface. You know, I know all these people. You know who Ghostface is, even with these movies, but you don't know.
Everybody's a suspect!
And that's what's the beauty of it. You know the mask, but you don't know who's behind the mask. I know who Michael Myers is each and every time, but the Ghostface, you go in and trying to figure out. I love that. I'm a big fan of like those old 70s Giallo films with like Dario Argento and those like murder mystery like New York Ripper and Suspiria and Deep Red. Those are really fun because there's that mystery aspect to it. You're trying to figure out something, so your brain is working the whole time. You're seeing all these countless crazy deaths and they're brutal and gory, but then you're still going, okay, but how is that person connected to this person but connected to this? That's so interesting and makes each film a worthwhile experience. Then you get then you get like a whole nother rewatch basically, because then you go, okay, I know who the killer is this time, but now let me watch it again to see if I can pick up on clues. You could definitely do that with some of the other ones, like Laurie Metcalf in Scream 2, and I'm like, wow, she was screaming it the whole movie. Scott Foley in Scream 3 is the one that confuses me the most. I'm just like, sure, half-brother, fine Roman, director man, whatever. Yeah, I love that. Oh my god, Scream 4, you definitely go and rewatch that. You see a lot of glances and moments that I think are so good. That's what I really love about each one of these Scream movies. That's what I've been very scared about this one, like getting spoiled, because I want to go in fresh. I want to go in not knowing anything. That's what's so beautiful. I can watch Marvel spoilers all day for one of those big movies, and I'm like, oh yay, these people are going to be in this movie. Okay, that they just don't have that heart and soul to me. But if I had this killer spoiled for me in this movie, I would have been heartbroken. That's what I'm saying. I really like that the murder mystery is a big part. That's Kevin Williamson, though. He has a big history with this. I Know What You Did Last Summer has that. I think he has a show on television, or he had one called The Following with Kevin Bacon, another mystery kind of vibe as well. That's so so good and so needed. It really makes Scream stand out as not just a slasher franchise, but a murder mystery. I mean, this is like Agatha Christie with a butcher knife. That's what I need. Now, one of the final reasons, and maybe one of the most important reasons, it's the family that Scream is. Not just the community of us people who love Scream, it's the actors. I mean, they're bringing back actors from 4 to this one, but we've had these main 3. We've had Gale, Dewey, and Sydney since the beginning, and I feel like I've grown with them. I feel like I know them. They play such a big factor into each movie. I was nervous when I heard Neve Campbell was kind of like hesitant about coming back, because I'm like, do I even want to watch it without Sydney? Yeah, Dewey's here. I like Dewey. David Arquette's cool, but I need the whole group here, and that's what's so great. These characters have really grown. We've seen Sydney's character grow from this girl who's dealing with her trauma and how she handles that to being a kick-ass survivor to now wherever she's going to be at in this new film. I love that journey for her. Same thing with Gale. Gale was such a hard-headed, mean reporter in that first film, but she's still hard-headed and mean, but now we appreciate it. Now we like it, and that's what's really interesting. And Dewey, I don't know, he gets stabbed every movie. You know, he's that character that you're like, oh god, he's like an Uncle Dewey where you're like, what is he gonna crazily do this time? That's the stuff that I enjoy. I feel like you're in a family. And like I said, not just with the community, because I will say the Scream fan base is great. We are so enthusiastic about everything. We're so down to try new films. Scream 4, there was a couple of us that were hesitant, but we still went in open-minded and had a good time. We're gonna do that with the new Scream film as well. That's what I really like. It's these families that we know in the film, but it's everyone around us. Wes, Kevin, and now Radio Silence have really built a community, a family, a good little moment, and it just makes me so happy. It makes me emotional thinking about what we've gone through as characters watching this, as people, as we're part of the film too, like the meta-ness of this, like we add to it. Scream is really for horror fans, it's by horror fans, for us, it's just a perfect encapsulation of why we love the genre. It's ooky, spooky, crazy, and gory, but it's also funny and weird. It's also a great community that they're building. There's good character work. Scream truly is unlike anything else, and that's why it reigns supreme as the horror franchise to beat. My brain was all over the place for this video. I honestly loved getting to talk about Scream as a whole overall legacy. My spoiler review will be up for the film this weekend. On my other channel, Flickering Myth, I will have a non-spoiler review coming up this week. I think it's Wednesday, and then when the movie comes out this weekend, I'll do a spoiler discussion as well. Make sure you guys do not watch that until you watch the movie. But overall, thank you guys so much for joining me. I loved getting to talk about the Scream legacy. This means so much to me. This was a franchise me and my mom watched a lot growing up. It's something I always like to watch my friends. My best friend Jake loves these movies as well, and he's not even the biggest horror person. Overall, I just think it's very, very cool to see a franchise that means so much to us and that I think is a very solid one. It's not just like fan personal bias. It's actually just, the proof is in the pudding. These are great films with a great franchise around it. Alright everyone, what did you think of this video? What do you think of the Scream franchise? What's your favorite Scream movie? Let me know down in the comments below. Do you have one that you don't really like? Let me know that as well. Make sure you guys comment, share this video. Oh, also give me a thumbs up if you did enjoy. Oh, and if you're not subscribed to my channel, make sure you do that as well. Alright everyone, let's talk about Scream down below.